It is 6 p.m. We're going to start the Select Board Sewer Commissioners meeting. This meeting is held virtually and hybrid. This meeting will be recorded by the West Boylston Town staff in person at the location. All members are present with the exception of Vanessa. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, folks. First item on the agenda is the 15-minute period is an opportunity for public comment to address concerns or questions regarding town operations or programs to the board. Except in urgent circumstances, any matter presented for consideration by the board shall not be discussed in detail or acted on by the board at this meeting. A future scheduled meeting agenda item can be set at the board's discretion. Do I have any members of the public that would like to come forward? That includes members online.
Fine. Big is right.
Can you just state your name and address for the record? I thought I heard some.
No, that's cable TV. Judy.
Cable?
Yeah, Judy.
Oh, okay, sorry. Anyone else? I'm echoing, so I'm going to whisper now. 1, 2, 3. All right, moving on. Review and vote to approve warrants for the period covering December 18th, 2025 to January 7th, 2025 as listed in the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have 4 regular meeting minutes that are on the agenda. I sent over changes for one. I believe she had made them.
I believe she did them.
She did make the changes. Do anyone else have questions, concerns about the meeting minutes?
No.
I need to skim them, but I can, after the meeting, I'll skim and sign.
All right.
I think they look great, actually.
I will say I liked the new format. It was easier to kind of list out, and I like the fact that we were able to get a bunch of them done. So I would take a motion to approve them as listed in the agenda or one at a time.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Hearing no second, the meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none opposed. Moving on to new business. So, accept a donation for the COA for $200. I don't believe we have to, do we have to, is that action? Just accept it, so we'll take a.
Just to accept it.
All right, so we accept that. No further discussion. There's a presentation, discussion for the cemetery expansion. SB Representative Raj.
Excuse me, the board should vote to accept
Oh,
the
sorry.
gift.
Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Sorry. Thank you, Carter. All right. Is Raj doing the presentation for the cemetery?
It was his request, so I worked with the
I can give you a
chair.
brief
And,
overview, or if you want to Barbara to present, that will be fine.
Well, why don't you give an overview, and Barbara, would
Yeah.
you mind coming up and,
So, I have a brief overview. We all know that, Mount Vernon Cemetery is running out of space. So, in July 2025, the cemetery board voted to stop the pre-sale of the lots, and move to as needed basis only. I did get few calls from some of the town residents. So they said, they reach out to the cemetery board or cemetery workers, they get no answers. So I feel like this is not a routine policy change. It is a clear signal that we are approaching full capacity. So few years back, the town meeting did voted to approve the Timnan Drive, and it was approved by the Timnan Drive about, they transferred the property from the electric plant, about 20 acres of the lot. And also when Nancy was there, there was a naming also. They did name the lot. So that clearly tells us, there is a need. We do have a place. So I don't know, somehow it's along the way, momentum was lost. Burial space is a core municipal responsibility. Residents reasonably expect to bury loved ones in their own town, and uncertainty at a time of loss unacceptable. The cemetery trustee manages operations, but they cannot move capital project alone. So it's our select board's direction and the coordination is required. So I believe we need a clear status report from the cemetery board. That's why Barbara is here. And also, we need to think whether we can utilize any and all the portions of the Tivian Drive. If not, we do need to come up with the space. So inaction is not neutral choice. It only narrows our options over time. This is the moment to act deliberately rather than be forced into decisions later. So we do need to act on it. I don't know, along with the cemetery board. I feel like, I did mention to you, this is the, select board or the town issue. So if this need to be done, I don't know how, but this need to be taken care of immediately.
Thank you, Raj. You have a lot of papers there, so I'm gonna say.
It's really a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one. Is that one?
Okay. This process all started before I became a cemetery trustee. So there are things that I'm not going to remember because I didn't know them to begin with. First of all, this document that Carter put together is great. It's a fact, it's a law, it's not a wish. We must, as a town, provide burial space for our residents in the town. This is a good, we just opened the last section, and we had to change how we do business. There are approximately 240 plots in that space. A lot of people had been inquiring when it was going to open because they wanted to purchase graves. And there were a lot of them. Some people wanted to purchase multiple. So the first thing we did was we changed it so that only 4 could be purchased at a time. 2 on the road, because a lot of people like to be on the road, and 2 behind it or whatever. Then we decided that we were going to sell the graves on an as-needed basis only. So if you have someone in town that passes away, now you can buy a plot if you don't already have one. We can't let the town purchase all of those graves in anticipation of deaths in the future. Some of them could be in the far future, but we need to take care of the people that die now. So that didn't make a lot of people happy as well. Where does he have one here next? So the 240 plots can be more than that if a lot of people select cremation. It's kind of a 50-50 thing right now. One lot can take 3 cremations. So that really increases the number of available. And it is a 50-50 thing right now. People are going for cremations. Paul X. Tiverton Drive. When Nancy was here, I don't know who she made the deal with, but the light department is involved and gave to the town the property at Paul X. Tiverton Drive. We walked it, we actually did some test digging, and it's it's free, but it's not free, because the preparation for a cemetery at that location is great. The boulders are unbelievably big, the valleys, the water, and the location itself is a poor choice. I don't know anybody who would say, please bury me across the street from the jail. It's not a good choice. We have things that go on in our current cemetery in the evenings when there isn't a lot of people there. Can you imagine what would go on in the cemetery across from the jail as people are going to visit their folks that are inmates? And it's just a bad place for a cemetery. So, I think that someone tried to make a deal with the DCR about a piece of land up on Prospect Street, and the DCR said, okay, give us the rail trail, and we'll give you that piece of land. Well, Nancy really liked the rail trail. That was a big thing for her. So that was out of the question. So anyway, in 2017, the document that I gave you, there were 3 RFPs done. One was for the Gambasini property on the corner of Pierce and Maple. One was up by the Country Club, and the other was on Fairbanks Street, I can't think of the kid's name right now, but on Fairbanks. And this document that I gave you gives details, big details on what happened within each of those properties, and the recommendation from the cemetery trustees at the time was to go with the Gambasini property because it was, well, James, you came there for the walkthrough. We did a walkthrough again with Heather. James was there. I don't remember if there were any other, was there any others? Was Vanessa there?
You were there, right?
I was there.
No, just James. Okay.
James was there.
Yeah, and while it is wooded, there are roads in it already. There is a building there already, and the building would accommodate us very nicely. It has large 2 garages on the first floor, an apartment on the second floor that could easily be an office. And if we had to build something now to accommodate the trucks, et cetera, we'd have to go with whatever that is, the rules of building things for municipalities.
Prevailing wage, you mean?
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah, so you'd have to, so you can't build without prevailing wage. But I thought there was more to that, because, I mean, the asking price was somewhere over $1 million, but the actual estimate of the property was 300,000 or 400,000 or something, so they were asking double. Wasn't there something sent to us? I don't see it in here, though.
No, after this was done, Gambasini property
Yeah.
was like $1 million.
Yeah, that's, I remember something.
Yeah, and, well, none of them were inexpensive.
I follow that, but our hands are gonna be somewhat tied as well compared to what the Board of Assessors values the property at compared to what we can pay. I think there's some gray area, but if the board says this much and they want that much, we
I don't remember. There was something sent to us. I just can't remember what it.
yeah, no, but I recall your recollection as well, that they were pretty far apart in their estimations at the time. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, well, Heather did say something to me about the town can only pay a certain percentage of the assessed value. I don't know when it.
Town can only pay the
Recording in
appraised
progress.
value without respect to how the assessors have valued it. You would have to have an independent appraisal done in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 30B.
That's, I was gonna say, because the land was valued at 246,000.
But in general, we don't expect an independent estimate of the property to be wildly different than the Board of Assessors. They're usually not that far off, right?
I'll reserve comment on
Say, sure. I think we know the answer, but that's,
I just remember there was something had come over, because it was like estimated at like 246,000, but the asking price was a little over $1 million.
$1 million.
Million, something like that. Okay. Here they're there. So you have these three that are in this.
Right.
These three that you've reviewed, and they're all potential options the town could pursue.
Well, I think that the property at Westchester Country Club is off the table.
Okay.
Are they not selling it, or?
Oh, DCR, depending on DCR, would insist on.
Oh, that's the
100 to
property you're
300 as a
saying?
buffer. Be off limits.
So anyway, there is going to be a meeting, I think it's is it townwide planning? Vanessa
Yeah.
has invited me to attend with the fire chief, DPW,
And the
school, the four of us. We all need a place for,
Everybody's going for the same.
everybody's going for the same places. Now, I don't know if anyone's, other than us, is looking at Gambassini. That's really our first choice.
I think, yeah, so I think one of our walkthroughs here was the hope to get in front of, everybody wants land, everybody wants to build something,
Yeah.
we need a lot of stuff, it just happens. And instead of competing, the hope was that funneling through maybe townwide planning to get everybody at the table to say, instead of all fighting against each other, you know, everyone wants to negotiate using the rail trail, and it's like, well, whoever gets to it first wins, right? But the reality is it would just come back to the TA and to us, and then we get stuck in the bad position of saying, we're gonna pick you over a DPW station. And then everyone freaks out because they wanted the DPW station. So the hope was to get everybody in a room, to a meeting, to plan out, hey, we all need things, how can we work together to do it? So I think that's a good
I think so, too.
step, and I actually think, I know the school looked at the Maroney property as an option.
Yes.
Because it would, for a new school, because of the acreage and what could be over there, so this information, I think, would be, I wonder if sending it to that school building committee, who also members sitting here, just as this was on part of that, they did a feasibility years
Sure.
and years ago, and this is one that was identified, so it's funny that I see this and I'm like, I don't know if they knew this stuff.
It's a lot of good information, and I certainly feel that we should be sharing. I'm looking forward to that meeting. We all have a need, and unfortunately, ours is more than a need. It's a you have to.
Can I say something
Go
about it?
ahead.
So earlier select board, myself, Chris Ruccio, John Hadley, Pat Crowley. So we all looked at the property along with Anita or Nancy.
It was Anita.
Anita, yes. That time, the property, the one reason that time, we dropped, we didn't move forward is it has ledges, it has wetlands, and I don't know what the DCR is going to say on that also. So that is the one reason. We don't know how many acres we may be able to use it, and also the price. He was
that-
asking more. He was asking a lot.
Is that the Gambassini one you're
Gambassini
talking about?
property.
Yeah, if you have the opportunity to take a look at this document, DCR's words are in there as well, but there was nothing that said no.
We do need to go through the DCR on that.
Yeah, I
We-
have.
We have to get the
other
permit from the
documents,
DCR.
but
So they may be, that's one thing. The second thing is the ledges. I don't know how much, they said, more ledges or more things.
Well,
And wetland.
James, do you remember when we went through, we didn't see?
There's, I remember seeing, a bunch of rock faces and the like. I actually thought it would make for a nice accent, but,
We don't know how much land we
I
can
don't-
able to
I
use.
don't know how
it,
much
yes.
land you can
That
actually
need, that
use.
need to be, we need to figure it out.
So, go ahead, Raj.
There really
No
isn't
problem.
any place that's perfect for any of us.
I agree, we are built on a lot of,
Why
a
don't
lot
we-
of difficult terrain. So on this, I see this report, I see this update, I think these make sense, and you said you do have an upcoming meeting with townwide planning,
Yes.
which I think is also good, so maybe our follow-up to this would be the outcome of that meeting, because I don't want to, Raj, I know you're passionate, but I
We
don't
do
want to
need-
take
no,
action.
The thing is, we do need a land, I don't know where is the land. And this 240 lots, how many years it will come? 3 year, 4 year?
Kevin estimates 5.
It's
But
a,
that's at your
it's
current,
a
what you
more-
have to do right now.
it's more
so,
ambitious,
yeah.
I
Right.
think, last time was like 60 per year.
Something
That's
like
what Ron was saying, 60 per year. So anyway, so the thing is, so we need to look for a land, we need to go to the town meeting, get the approval, and then, we need to go fix the lot. So that, it takes like 2-3 years.
it takes time.
That's the reason, I was like,
I spoke with, the fire chief and I just happened to be having a conversation today around, on all of our needs,
so
And the fire
you may
department,
not have an answer, but what happens if we run out of space? Town admins,
Well, you do have a statutory obligation. There are communities that have walked away from that statutory obligation without consequence. I don't get a feeling this is a community that wants to go that route. I'd like to suggest that you do have several bodies in need of land. They're fire, DPW, cemetery, and school. How much land do they need has yet to be defined to my knowledge. The best estimate is 15 acres would take care of you for more than 50 years. But that's going to depend upon the configuration of the lot, the topography of the lot, and the soil conditions. So you're going to have to, once you know what your needs are, then you can explore a little bit deeper. I don't think you need to wait much if you are interested in approaching DCR. Set aside what you would use the DCR land for. If that land has been identified as being of interest to you, and if you are open to trading the rail trail for it, then you can have that conversation with DCR. If you are not open to that trade, then it needs to just be struck and it's off the list. Period. End of story. Now, the Tibnan Drive is clearly not of great interest to the Cemetery Commission.
I think,
That is, if I might, that is, you concur with that opinion or you do not concur with that opinion.
so my thing is, the town did vote it, Tiven Drive for a cemetery. So the town people did vote it for it. So I'm not sure.
Then in that case, you have $125,000 sitting in your accounts that has to go back to the state on June 30, 2027 for the planning and development of a cemetery expansion. You've spent $5,000 and it's been there for a while. If it is the opinion of this board that it wishes to pursue Tibnan Drive, then at least get a mapping plan and a grading plan and determine if it has the potential that it was believed to have. You don't need to wait for that. And the answer may come back, no, it doesn't. And so if the municipal light plan is really interested, toss it back. work with your town meeting to get that done. I don't think that is a board for this decision for this board. In working with the cemetery, that is something we could get underway. We'd have to do an RFP. That could be underway within 9 to 12 weeks.
So can I?
Yeah.
I do value the cemetery board opinion on the Tivnan Drive, but at the same time, how do we make sure whether the town wants it or not? What do we need, how do we go about this? Whether the town is willing to put their, in that Tivnan Drive, whether they will accept it. My feeling is, they did accept it, that's why they voted it. But now, how do we make sure? Or do we make the decision?
Do you have any clue on how much something, because I'm also thinking as a safeguard, if you go with a different property, right? So if you go to town meeting, someone's gonna say, at town meeting X, we voted and approved this, why didn't you use it? Is there value in having a survey done of it, so that way the cemetery commission could say, hey, so we had the report, they did the grading, it's not a value, they can't use it for a cemetery, and that is why we're going after this piece of property, would that be of value?
I think answering questions that are going to be asked is always of value to the process.
We could always do the survey, but survey, not too many people are there.
Could you remind me the size of the property in question that you're saying?
20
that the
acres.
20 acres that the town already voted
So
for the
it wa-
initial, for the
It was,
initial study?
it was under the electric board, and then, town asked the electric board to transfer it to the town.
Okay.
So they did transfer it for this purpose, and then town meeting has to vote on it. So it is now town property, it's about 20 acres. If
So-
I remember
So
correctly.
you need to determine, you really need to have it looked at from terms of wetlands.
There is no wetland there.
Okay.
Is that Tivian Drive wetland?
And a grading and layout plan, and you may find that it's really not workable, or you may find it is workable, and then you can make that
So-
decision.
And so I'm sorry, and to remind me again, because I'm playing a little bit of a catch-up, I think a few of these were before my time. You're saying we have funds already pre-allocated to investigate that property for the purpose of cemetery or general geological testing?
You have earmark in the state budget of, I think, 2 fiscal years ago.
That they provided us to do
That
this.
was, I think it was originally 130, and you've spent a few dollars out of it. So there's 125 plus or minus remaining for the planning and construction of a cemetery expansion.
So,
And that goes back to the state. That's not
Yeah.
town money.
no, I follow. So what I'm wondering then, and if you don't have the answer right now, that's totally fine, but what I'm wondering is, is there some flavor of general testing that's applicable for both the purposes and use that would be in line with the cemetery, but would also just give us a general idea of the quality of the land, such
That has
that,
been done.
such that if we choose that this is not the best property, one of our other needs may investigate that piece of, that parcel, and at the same time, we then start looking to other parcels that you've identified that may be more fruitful. But that way, we're still in line with the original clause of what the state wanted us to do with those funds, but it draws more value for some of our other needs at the town at the same time.
Just let me say that
Please.
our DPW guys went there and did some test holes, did some digging, so you could get some information from the DPW.
Okay. And do you have, and I'm sorry, does the cemetery commission have that report currently?
I don't believe there was ever actually a report done.
Yeah.
Kevin Duffy was the DPW guy at the time.
Okay.
We did hire a tree removal company, because you couldn't get in there. And they came and removed some trees. And our guys with our equipment went up there and did some test digging. I don't know that there was ever a report put out, just a conversation, actually. Now, also, the electric light company asked for some of it back because they wanted to expand the solar field.
So the town can refuse too.
We didn't, we told them they
No,
could
that's
have
our
it.
land now.
So-
This is our land.
So, quick question so we have till June 27th. I know that this has been sitting there 2 years, and what we normally do is spin on earmarks in the town, because everyone assumes that we can use that money for something else, and that they have a better plan, and that's why they never get used. But this has happened multiple times with earmarks. It constantly happens. A new board member will show up and go, well, I think we should have a different plan, and then we lose the earmark.
Right.
This looks like, so what you've outlined here is the approach to DCR, the grading layout plan, determine RFP need, create property acquisition stability fund, kick off planning, or proceed. So my first one would be the actions right now for that property. The town owns it, but there was a town meeting vote.
If we could
Could we
get,
mute the folks on there? Ray, if you could mute, and Julianne, if you could mute, that would be great.
Trump administration is now saying about the Venezuelan oil now in possession. Also ran in sketch 5 of big reporting.
Julianne's the last one on the, all the way over.
all right,
That should be
Okay. So, right now, I don't think we could take action, and I don't think I would be comfortable taking action to pursue the earmark or to use the money for the earmark. And no offense, I understand the DPW did dig holes, but it's the DPW. They are not dig safe. They don't do that type of work in the town of West Boylston. Unless they've gotten different certifications to do test pits, soil samples, because I will use them in a completely different way in the town of West Boylston. We will definitely use that different if they're doing ledge grading and test pits and soil samples and drainage, because that was, someone told me they did test pits to do drainage calculations, and that was shocking that we had the capability in the DPW. I don't think that's really what that would have happened, right? Those are like a special,
So you can, when you hire an engineer
yes,
to look at land, you can have them hire the contractor and do the test pits. You can have them locate where they want the test pits. You can have your DPW dig them, that's not uncommon. But you pay an engineer to be on site to look at the soil conditions, perhaps even take, if you were doing a building, they would take actual soil samples. In this case, they would simply observe them. And so if you had an engineer who was going to, let's say, come in, locate where the test pit should be done,
have
do a
them dig 'em.
grading and layout plan, they would then avoid the areas if there were problems in the areas. The issue becomes, what does the town want to do? The doing of all this is actually
Easy.
relatively easy.
Well, I know they dug pits, you said they did test pits in the past, but I deal with this constantly because it's always a battle. Well, at this field, we don't believe we had drainage. The DPW said we didn't have drainage, and then I have a pond in the middle of the field, and they said, well, we dug a hole at the far left of the field, and that hole didn't get water. It goes in kind of having an engineer, someone that actually knows how to do this or where to dig, or where to dig and how
In
to.
general, when doing site work like this, we ask the engineers where they want the test pits done, and we have them on site
For it. Okay.
to observe the test pits. Now, if you're doing actual borings, that's done by the boring company. We don't necessarily have to have somebody there. But I think we are talking about redoing it, possibly, depending upon the decision of this board, possibly redoing those test pits with them being observed.
The
Mike, can I-
DPW director was an engineer.
Can I say something?
Yep.
So, my understanding is, this earmark is only for the cemetery.
Only for the cemetery.
Tivian Drive Cemetery Development. Is there a wording on
It
that?
does not use the phrase Tivnan Drive.
Okay.
It is for, I'd have to go back and get the exact
One thing,
wording.
we need to make sure.
But it's for the planning And expansion of cemeteries.
But we don't have any other space, but we could use it for, if we get a different lot, we could use it.
You can use it at a different lot. The question becomes starting by explaining to the town meeting why you haven't looked at the land in the same way you looked at others.
So the other thing is, we have the money. So in other boards, we do use VHP as our engineers. So they routinely do this kind of work, soil testing, test pit and everything. So can we spend some money out of this? Is it worth to spend some money out of this to do the test pits and to see whether the lot is good or the lot is bad?
Well, I would just like to suggest that there's more issues than just test pits. When you deal with the terrain issues and you take out of it any areas that might be problematic, what configuration are you left with? And how many lots does that give you?
Sure.
Agree.
Right, versus how much earthwork are you willing to put into?
So, but the money is there, so we could use whether to see it, whether that is a usable lot or not.
If that is the wish of the board.
You should walk the property. You will see that the boulders that are there are as big as this room. It's just,
No, I'm not only on the TVN drive.
yeah.
If you have other lot, yes, I'm
Yeah.
fine. But again, we need to go to we have to go through all these things. And also the town has other
Yeah, and the fire department is using it now. They asked if they could use it for training. I said, sure, it's just sitting there, why not? So they've been using it for training.
yeah, I'm fine with the,
Yeah.
whether if you get another lot and if the town meeting, the town wants to go to the another lot, if they want to spend that kind of money. So, but whatever we do, we need to act.
Do please remember that property acquisition is not simply identifying a parcel you like and buying it.
Yep.
Unless it fits as a unique acquisition within the statute. You have Chapter 30B, the state's procurement law, that you must proceed by. You have MSBA, who will hopefully be your partners on your next project. So there's a variety of things that come
Yep.
into the mix.
So looking at the big picture, I'm a little worried, that's all.
Have we looked at Pine Grove?
Pine Grove.
Someone mentioned, someone mentioned Pine Grove had soil samples done. I didn't know if it was for the cemetery in the past.
Where is Pine Grove?
I'll have to look. I was like, someone mentioned that it was done, so I'll look online. All right, so for us, I would say,
If I may, it would seem to be that between the various portions of land that the town has direct access to currently, and with the funds that we have allocated, it may be a worthwhile use of those to get a better understanding and like a report built of this is the quality of the ground at these various points that aids directly the cemetery commission in attempting to locate their next next location, and that information may also be useful for our other projects.
Absolutely.
And I think to the various points brought up here, whereas one piece of land may not be adequate for a cemetery, that may require significantly less rework to put, say, a DPW station
Right.
on that land. I just think wherever we can, 2 or 3 birds with one stone needs to try to be our priority to sort of
Makes
leverage
sense.
this as best we can. I guess my ask is, if we're going to request a firm to come in, just have a clear laid out plan of all the parcels that we currently have, and then secondarily, if we're seriously considering the private property that you mentioned earlier, trying to understand if the owner would be open to having their land sampled prior to acquisition. Obviously, buying the land would be contingent on the land being adequate for your purpose, right? So I think that would be sort of the second part, is if we're gonna have this done, if we're gonna have a firm come in, have them jump around multiple locations and do bores or soil samples, try to get it all under one umbrella at one time and use these funds appropriately. Then we at least understand at a town-wide scale, here's what's available to us, here's the quality of that, and then our 4 different areas that need property for new projects have a common set of knowledge on the quality of the land available to them. And then that might end up steering those committees. Okay, we initially thought we wanted A, but A soil is no good for us, B is better. That kind of wheeling and dealing once we know what we're actually working with. So I don't know if that would be permissible within the scope of those funds to soil sample several different locations, but it seems like we need that knowledge in order to proceed forward in any of these.
I think it could be massaged in that direction. I suggest you get started sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Because June 30 of 27 will be here a lot quicker than we all.
Yeah.
I know, I thought it yesterday when I was still 16, you know, so the days get ripped off the calendar real fast.
So I guess if this were going to be actionable, we would just essentially, this list of properties, plus, I'm sorry, was the initial one that Raj referenced that had been approved at town, was this also included in this, was the 15, sorry,
Tivian Drive, Tivian.
is that one in this report?
No.
No.
Is not, okay. So it would be these listed plus TV and Drive. And then if we have any others that we know
So
of.
the only 2 properties the select board looked at that time, so before 2 town admins, Timnan Drive, we didn't walk through or anything. Only the Pierce Street, Gambasini land.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Well, I would say the Maroney one based on this is kind of default out, if I read this properly, so you'd
That
have.
was looked by only the cemetery commissioners.
Well, I was gonna say, based on what the
Yeah.
Maroney family provided
Yeah.
for information about the wetlands, so that one might not, and it was walked through October 4th of
Cemetery
17.
trustees.
Okay. Well, I know we didn't go, Raj, but I'm thinking they.
I have no idea.
So if you did the 3, do you think we could put something out for those 3 properties, Gambasini and the Tedman, and is it the Italiano property? Is that actually the
I
name
would
of the
feel
property?
more comfortable answering you after I've talked with the Inspector General's office, because I think they're gonna require you to go through open procurement. I could
Okay.
be wrong. Are there any dollars in, so you have the fire DPW feasibility study kicking off next week. Are there any dollars remaining in that budget item? And I'll tell you where I think I'm headed in a moment, if there are.
I think the DPW, that study will be, they are using the entire amount.
For fire and
Yeah,
feasibility?
yeah, feasibility study. They are using the entire amount, whatever this allocated by
Okay.
the,
So we might be able to find, here's my thought, if this makes some sense. Have an engineer lay out and observe the test pits, do the grading plan, the clearing plan, and a build-out cost at Tiverton Drive, and then working with the engineer for fire and DPW, just have them give you a rough ballpark. We need 6 acres or 10 acres, and have that overlaid. We'd have to find some dollars to do that. Work with the municipal light plant if indeed they want the thing back. I think this could be massaged in some fashion to get you along. And then a formal vote that you're not interested in swapping the rail trail, that puts that to bed. I don't Has that been formally voted by a board?
It has not. We have 3 different folks that have talked about reaching out to DCR to do a swap with them for land in town. So I wanted that, what we had asked is it to go to townwide planning and go through that channel versus all 3 of them come fight the select board basically and present, and then we do any, mini, miny, mo. And
Well, I guess what I'm suggesting is if you are interested, fine. You don't need to know what you would do with that land in order to know if you're interested in swapping the trail.
If I have to say something on the DCR property, the trail, so this has been talked in 3 or 4 different select boards.
Yep.
And all one of the DCR top person, he came in and he said, this is the trail is my top of my list. If you trade in, we will give you land. So, but every single time, every single select board member sitting in this chair, they refused. And also, my feeling is, if it goes to the town meeting will 100% or 200% vote it down. They are not going to.
Well, I think it
swap
probably, no one swapped it because we didn't have a plan, but the reality is that it also is the only thing we have left as a bargaining tool for land. 70% of the town is open space. You have no other situation unless the jail is gonna leave. Or you don't have any other bargaining tools or mechanics in the town of West Boylston, unless you tell me there's something different. The only thing left is the rail trail to use as a barter tool for
But the
land.
only people that want it
Is
is
DCR.
DCR.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to let it go, you're done. If you are willing to trade it, you can have those discussions with DCR without necessarily knowing what you would use the land for.
So that's the one, I'm telling you today, but I will tell you anytime. My vote is going to be no, and also entire town is going to vote down no. DCR swap.
Then-
I think, that's a bad idea.
Then let us put this in
Even to
front of the
talk
board
about
and
it.
get the board to vote no. You're not interested, and that removes it off the table, and we move on.
So I can speak only for myself, So,
Yeah, I don't necessarily share that same black and white opinion. I think it's more gray than not, so.
Let me try to bring you several action items at your next meeting that hopefully might allow us to move this forward a little bit along this general outline, if that
Please.
meets your agreement.
And
Because the
I-
other thing I want to just note is, this all costs money.
Yep.
You've got to create a stabilization account, an acquisition account, and start funding this.
I would say I'm in the same state. I wouldn't be opposed to negotiating for the DCR land as long as it was a sizable piece of property that could satisfy all of our immediate needs in town. It couldn't be one project. And those 3 boards and the town would need to be willing to pay for those things. I would say, example, if we could say yes, barter for that land, and then get to town meeting, the town meeting vote, we don't want a development and we don't want to do it. But that's the reality. This happens every single time we get a plan up, someone goes, well, I don't like the plan. Same thing with earmarks. Gets to town meeting, gets voted down, it sits there. I think everyone doesn't barter with this property because there isn't a plan. And everyone knows when it gets to town meeting, the moment money's mentioned, it gets voted down. So, I mean, in 30 years, we've only ever had trash really was the deciding factor to fund something. I don't know if any of this
I
would
would
get
like to
approved.
help you find a way to expend the earmark, because it's so much easier to ask for new earmarks when you've
And
been
it-
getting your old earmarks expended.
I know the only ones that actually use it are parks. They are able to eat up their earmarks. They're the only ones that actually go through with the plan.
So would you?
I think we should do that.
Like me to bring forth a plan that would have some definitive actions, and
Yeah,
then the
from
board
Latvian
can,
Drive.
Yep.
yes, no, whatever.
I would say
mean,
yes.
these are your decisions.
I think that would be great if we could do that next meeting, so that way we can act on it. I also think for the commission, you guys should vote on that too, right? Because they're gonna ask, what did the commission vote to do? Did you vote to use that money for that earmark? Because it will turn into, the select board voted to use it, the commission said not to do it until, and then it's, we are micromanaged your board, and we will deal with that on Facebook, of course, but I think if your board is okay with the earmark, you present the plan, and both our boards are in alignment, right? It's all about agreeing. We could go forward with it.
So could we get a meeting with your board next week? Perhaps Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday or the evening?
I'll have to check with them,
Okay.
but I would assume.
I will.
It just helps us.
I will meet with the cemetery commission prior to bringing the plan forth to you so that the plan includes their point of view.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Do you have anything else for us? You could stay for the meeting too. It's gonna be very lively. Are you sure? Have a nice day. What evening?
Well, you know, the DPW building is proposed to come down. There's gonna be changes or demolition of the fire department. There's gonna be land there.
You never, there's so much.
There's so many things that can be talked about, you know.
But that would be perfectly, because it's already connected to the existing cemetery.
Correct. We did talk about that.
Well, I'm gonna put that all on townwide planning. They're gonna solve world hunger here in West Boylston, I've decided. They have all the things on the agenda. So,
All right,
I will see you soon. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, other pressing things. We have the town administrator search update. Since we have David, you're on that committee. Do you have an
I am
update?
not.
You're not?
That is Raj and Vanessa.
Raj, are you, sorry, you were on the last one?
Great try.
Joseph,
You want to switch it?
no.
Go ahead. So Vanessa is out. So because Vanessa is out, we had, the clerk ran the meeting, last meeting.
Okay,
So basically, we looked over all the
how many
earlier
applications?
meetings, we had a list of questions to ask in the subcommittee. So some of the members said, without seeing the questions, we are not comfortable in voting on the questions. So we looked at the questions, halfway through, like I think, like a 10, 12 questions. Halfway through, we had a disastrous Zoom meeting. So Zoom meeting cut off after maybe an hour or so. So that's one of those things, I do need to, maybe I will talk to the TA after that. So, we are okay with the questions on the globally. So there may be a little bit tweaking, so we can ask that question as a follow-up questions. That's what the board agreed. So we had like a 26 applications or so, something like that.
26, okay.
Yeah, out of that, what I heard, what we decided from the last meeting was 6 applicants bring in 3 days before the subcommittee, 2 each day, so 6 applicants. But it's not, one of the members also told me that 2, they no longer interested. So that means we have 4 candidates.
So out of the
To go-
26 applied, you guys reached out to 6 of them.
2
4.
said no.
So out of the
have
people.
4 left.
4, so you're gonna interview them when?
12, I think at 12, 13, 15.
This coming month?
Yes.
Okay.
And also after that, we had like 1 or 2 applications.
After the, not deadline, but it was
Meeting.
overrolling,
After
okay.
After the last meeting.
Well, that's good, so last meeting, so it'd be like 29 people if you did 26 and,
Yeah.
okay. All right, anything else you think we need to know on that one?
No, that's okay.
No? All right. No old business. The only action item on here is for Raj has volunteered for the 2-year position on the Historical Commission, and it's as an appointment through the CPC, right? It's a,
No.
this is just regular?
So here is the thing. So Historic Commission has less than quorum members.
Okay,
So there is one Historic Commission member serves on the, as a representative, serves on the CPC.
Okay,
The CPC board is vacant, the historic commission member is vacant.
Okay.
Unless the historic commission has a quorum, we cannot select a member
Perfect.
to send
Okay.
it to you. That's why I volunteered to be a member, to select the board,
all right.
over the thing.
So it's for an appointment date for the Historic Commission ending 4/30/27. All we can do is disappoint this. I mean, do we have a motion to approve?
You can ratify, and that closes the window. You don't have to wait the 15 days to not approve.
Okay, so let's do it now then. Do I have a motion to appoint Raj to the Historic Commission for a 2-year term ending or expiring on 4/30/27?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, moving on. Next, Carter, the floor is yours. Do you have any updates? or-
I do, and my apologies, I would like to try to have these out earlier in the week. And these will be posted for the general public after they have been presented to you. I wanted to bring you up to date, and so I'll be using 3 methods of communication with you. You'll notice at different times I've sent out, blind copies of emails, so you kind of have a sense of what might be going on. We'll use communications like this, and of course, anything related to executive session, litigation, personnel matters will be in a separate correspondence with you. So I've met with your chair, Ray Burko, sorry. Just learning names.
If no one, I think, the person who makes the Zoom account, they control the host. So in that, say suppose we had that TA subcommittee, the person who is scheduling the meeting designate a TA subcommittee member as a host, number
Right.
1. Number 2 is like the meeting end time, little more than like a 1 hour, so they shut down the meetings. So we have no way of getting back to the meeting.
So,
So
Aside-
meeting time is maybe, say 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, no problem. But 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, the meeting shut down at 7. No one is there to restart it.
So there were 2 accounts. They were both administered by someone that now is working as an administrator over at our police station. There was an executive account. I can I'll help you, Carter, with both links, usernames, and what the passwords
Okay.
used to be, and they were set up, that hasn't happened in 4 years here, because they were set up in a very meticulous, secure way, and I am guessing that maybe didn't get transferred over as it should, so let me,
I would appreciate any assistance.
Yeah.
I mean, the depth of my technical knowledge is reboot. So yes, I'd appreciate any assistance there. Going back to the Finance Committee, Leslie and I are working through the revenue estimates for '27, and we've asked the chair to set up a meeting with the Finance Committee so we can review those, answer any questions, and settle that, because obviously under Prop 2.5, the expense budget has to back into the revenue budget. The town administrator budget, I've gone through that with respect to preparing for potential contract negotiations. You'll see in the third page of this packet that based upon certain assumptions, one being that the incoming TA starts April 1st, the other being that the executive assistant is hired in relatively short order, and that we don't need to transfer monies into the expense accounts. The remainder that you would have as of 6/30/26 would be about 37 and change. So you'd be able to offer a salary that we've noted here. Now, bear in mind, that's only for the 12 weeks, and then whatever contract you sign for the coming year, as long as the money's been set aside. So once we have you, though, we would then include the appropriate amount in fiscal '27.
can I ask a question just on that? Do you have you had some people to interview for that position? Or has
For the
person-
executive
Yes.
assistant?
As a
we-
person
we-
doing it, like to keep it?
We
Since you do a great
do, I've certainly encouraged her to consider applying. I wouldn't want to comment on, what her personal decision might be. We have several applications that I think have some promise. I've asked the town clerk put together a interview team. She's
Okay.
much more familiar, with
Yeah.
the feeling of this building and the community. So I'm hopeful that we'll have 5 interviewed by this time next week. So I can then get her recommendation on the top 1 or 2. And then, try to have it before before you at your next meeting. Certainly, it's important that we get that filled. I want to really thank Anna. She's really helped keep me afloat, quite frankly. Health insurance, we met with Ken from NFP today and Leslie. The trend rate for Maya is running between 10% and 20%. They will not make the final rate votes until January 24 as part of the annual MMA trade show and conference. Your loss ratio is 120%. They like folks to be in the 92 to 95% range, because that then leaves them a little bit of money for administration and profit. So at this point, I'm anticipating that we're going to be towards the top of that range. Now, that may come down to 18 or 17. I don't know where we're going to land just yet, but it is going to be problematic. We'll look at the benefit platform to determine if there's any tweaking possible within that benefit platform. And I've asked Leslie to pull out your opt-out plan. I understand it's relatively old, and my initial impression from what I was told is that perhaps it needs a bit of tuning. I will tell you that in these smaller towns, if you could get 1 or 2 people involving themselves, that would be terrific. But we need to get that tool revised to reflect today's world and have that before you over the next few weeks. I'd like to review it with the IAC, just to, try to get them some buy-in. Cemetery Commission Chair and I met for some time yesterday. I helped put together the little handout. Assessors and I met with Dave this morning. New growth, 75 to 100%, 100K. We'll review where we are in the next week or so. I have asked him, I think full certification process is next year, I believe. And I've asked him to give me a breakout of where you are on the cyclical. That every 5 years, you got to do a complete reval, but you have to make sure you've been to every property over a 10-year cycle. So I've asked him to give me an update on both, and we'll bring that before you. You do have considerable amounts available in the overlay surplus, and I suggested you begin to develop a property acquisition fund. It appears, whether it be for the school, fire station, or DPW, or cemetery, that you have several units in need of funding, and my suggestion is going to be to create a property acquisition fund. Start it with $250 this year and keep an eye on that overlay surplus and, pull a little bit out of that each year as you build forward, keeping a good, strong safety valve there. Overall, the board of budget versus actual revenues and expenses aren't looking bad with two exceptions. Of course, snow and ice, just about every town, saves money in the budget by not fully funding snow and ice, but you end up paying for it in the end. So that may be something you want to try to start to build up a little bit over time to close the gap between what you budget and what you end up backfilling in the spring. Legal expenses, I am concerned about those. You will find as part of this a reminder to all departments, boards, commissions, and the like, and I've had a conversation with council, who I think, I'm very comfortable with. I mentioned, I'd like to talk with them and switch if necessary, but frankly, I've had several good conversations, and I'm very comfortable with them and have no intention, would not make any change without consulting with this board first. But we've circulated that policy that you'll see, and it is something we need to keep an eye on, and I've asked all boards to come to me first. I've seen one or two legal opinions where I could have said, yeah, but it's this. I don't know how much money it would have saved at the time, but I think working with the TA first and foremost is always the best. Solid waste teams meeting weekly. We are targeting a public hearing in front of the Board of Health on February 4 for the draft regulations implementing the program, making some tweaks to what they're doing. Obviously, they've got to set that date, so we're not going to advertise anything until that time. And then formal adoption about 2 weeks afterwards. So they'll get the regulations, I think, next week. Lock in those public hearing dates for us, and then we'll be on our way, hopefully with adoption about 2 weeks after that. And presentation to you all of the draft administration policy to be on February 18, adopted by mid-March. This very last page will give you a sense of how we're tackling the project. Each week we review where we're at, where we might need to change dates because of log jams we've hit, adding things as we go along, like for instance, the dates of the advertising will still show TBD because I can't advertise until the Board of Health sets their hearing date. And some of these other things, we haven't met with Republic yet. There's some things. This is tight. I want to be honest with you. But I think the staff's working together well. We may have to add some folks. Not completely clear on your other groups, but I'm happy to go and brief them whenever, they call me to do so. And as I say, this each week will be, will grow out, and we're gonna do our very best to make sure we hit all these benchmarks.
So this is a Gantt chart based on the July 1 rollout date. I think this is great because I was one of the folks that was very concerned because I hadn't seen an implementation plan and actually a path, right? So there was we had a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions, but I know we funded barrels. I don't know for who, how to get them there, if they were ordered. So for me, this is great because we have a very short period of time till July 1 to have this done. And the reality is, until you put pen to paper, there's not really a plan. There's meetings.
This is tied to July 1. Now, we do have a proposal on the bins from a contractor who is on the state bid list, so that's good. Part of his pricing is to deploy all of the bins to the various addresses. I've not made the order, in part because I don't know how many we're ordering yet. I don't know to what addresses they're going yet. The gentleman did reach out earlier today. I've suggested he and I try to get together in 2 weeks. One more meeting of the team would give me a better sense of where we're at. It's a challenge. The other challenge is that the startup monies are in the operating budget, so they expire on June 30. I would respectfully suggest to you that in the future, when you're doing, an item like that, you really consider making it what we call special items, capital and special items, and that way it can live beyond the end of the fiscal year. We'll see where we're at, but this is the best. Please look at this, and if you have any questions about timelines, try to get to me by Monday, because the team meets again on Tuesday. It's every Tuesday.
Thank you. I mean, if you could just let us know this kind of information so we can circulate it. Also, anyone listening,
No, nobody's listening.
well, no, they're back on. They can hear and see us. Yes.
The-
They didn't
does-
sign that.
I've had them messaging me. They can hear and see us. I'm
If
not
they're-
sure how.
One of the
Zoom
things
is
that you'll,
currently still
Are we the,
So I would just say, one of the things, the biggest thing for me was, how do people opt in or out, right? How do we make sure we deliver to the right place? And then how is our mechanism for billing? Because I would hate to see this, as it was recommended, kind of sit with the DPW deploying and somehow managing the trash enterprise. The
Yeah.
new department basically would be managed somehow within the DPW. So that was I'll tell you my concerns.
Deployment would be done at this point. Deployment would be done by the vendor of the bins.
Okay.
Replacement, the one-offs coming and collecting, we've got a lot of work to do here yet. You will notice when you get a chance to review this, a talk of the town. I've done that in several communities, and when we did a similar kind of conversion in one, I brought the contractor in, and we had a half hour, and I'm so bad with names. Head of your SWAT,
Norma.
thank you. And someone from the Board of Health, and I've sent them some examples of the interviews that I've done, so they wouldn't hopefully feel too nervous
Okay.
about doing it. But we'll do our best with flyers, mailings, postings on the web, the talk of the town. If there's a venue, Rotary Club, Lions Club, you share, if you can share with me the means of getting information out there, and we'll use them all.
We do them all. Emails, postings, Facebook, social media.
We'll do everything we can. Open staffing issues, I spoke to that a few moments ago. We're not live, are we?
We are.
We are live.
We are, yes. They
In that
can hear
case-
us. They can hear and see us. That's,
That's what my guess is
I
on,
think so. I don't think Zoom
Zo-
was fully closed. I keep saying this, but no one's listening, so
But
she
somebody else
exited.
opened up
She
the-
did
she
not.
hit end for all.
We're live on the channel?
No,
That's-
Zoom is dead.
That's still fine, because I just want to let the community know that the position of executive assistant in the select board offices is open until filled. So if there is still somebody out there that hasn't heard about it or is interested, wonders what it's about, give us a call. And as long as that application gets in here before those interviews next week, we will give them serious consideration. Staffing issues, you discussed, I believe, at your last meeting. You've got some IOD and some workers' comp cases. I've spoken with Darren, we're reaching out to the insurers. I need to get my head around what the issues are, but we're certainly going to try to work to get them towards resolution in light duty. Met with your Walmart development team today. The DCR needs to be relocated across that lot, and your sewer needs to be relocated across that lot. So we'll be pulling together sewer billings of the last couple of years so they can get an idea of flow. It's actually not going to be that much of an increase because of the demolition of some of the older building, the one that I actually did come to the cut rate movies in that other building, but a portion of that's being demolished. So the square footage is actually not increasing all that much. Tom Degnan, your DPW director, was in on that meeting, as was Weston and Sampson. So we've given them a sense of direction. The other thing is we've asked them to work with the property management firm that when we move the easement around to accommodate them to the degree we can, we'd like to put the responsibility of construction on Walmart. We'll do the quality control, the daily inspections and such, but that would relieve us of hiring an engineering firm, developing specs, putting it out, all of that. So we'll see how we can try to make that happen. In terms of my priorities, I will say that there's a lengthy list of projects in the office, but I wanted to share with you what I've kind of settled in on. Obviously, I think we've added some work on the property acquisition here tonight, but the fiscal '27 budget is, of course, of high priority for us. There's some issues with DEP oversight on the landfill. We had some exceedances, which you have had historically, and the notes of that meeting are here in your package. And with no pun intended, I'm hoping it'll all work out well. We won't have to spend a lot more money on it. The MSW, Municipal Solid Waste Enterprise Fund, the rollout. I see when I did a cut and paste here, I've got that in parentheses, makes sense in a minute. The land acquisition needs, obviously working with the townwide planning committee and the cemetery, that's gonna have some immediate attention needed, given that earmark. Kicking off the fire and the DPW study, given that it's a committee, it's gonna have to post meeting minutes, agendas and the like. So that was a little bit of a hiccup, but I think when we meet next week, we can give that a clearer sense of direction. The housing production plan, and I've spoken with your planning board chairman about that. And then ongoing citizen concerns, and that's where my cut and paste failed me. I currently have 3 issues in front of me. One involves to signage scattered about town. So we've sent them an email ripple.
Okay.
We sent them an email, they sent in an email saying they'd like to partner with the Parks Commission and make some donations, to which I told them that would be wonderful, but they could also get a good PR kick by getting their signs off town property as a start. So we'll,
Can I ask you on that, can I? So I did send an email
yes,
to the building inspector, also copy to you, also the chairman. So I did not receive any response from the building inspector or the zoning enforcement officer. What happened there?
I'll ask why he hasn't responded to
He
you
is the
yet.
one, should be taking action, not that TA or any other.
Well, I think that as having some oversight for public properties, I need not ever wait for a building inspector
But this is the building inspector.
to get the stuff
signs
off ours.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll discuss it with a staff meeting as to why you don't have a response as of yet. We have a drainage issue that's causing some serious problems, which Tom's been out to look at. He's drafted a variety of letters to several property owners that he thinks are responsible. I can't remember the name of the church. Reverend Rick, does that make sense to anybody?
The one next to Walmart?
I think so.
Freedom Search, Freedom.
Yeah, so
Freedom
that, and we have one property where a commercial operator has proceeded to effectively create a curb cut without getting the permit, so we have commercial activity on a residential. So those are the three that are in front of us, and obviously, citizen concerns will be a priority for me. Please look that over. If there's something else that you think I need to be paying attention to, more or less, let me know. And that is my report to you for this week.
Do you think we can add on one more thing for you?
I work at the direction of the board, sir.
He did ask to advise him ASAP, so.
What is
only if
the
it's quick.
drainage issue Heather was working on? Hosmer Street.
It's actually in the meeting minutes. We had a citizen come, there was some drainage issue onto our property. Tom, the DPW director, can also, I'll send a note with the meeting minutes for
Could you please?
and connect the
Okay.
dots.
Yeah.
I think she wasn't working on it, I'd say at that point. What was said at our last meeting was to go through insurance to have it paid for, so there was something on it. So I'll send you.
If you could,
Okay.
please. And that just goes under the heading of citizen concern, so I don't
Yeah.
have to.
It's been a long pending one, yes.
Well, let's see what we can do with it.
Yep.
And can I one more?
No, I mean,
So I heard some rumors on the Sterling is out of the IMA for the building commissioner.
Not that I'm aware of. I did try to reach Mr. Caldwell
Yes.
this
Can we-
morning.
Can we make sure, and also, I do like to know at some point, if you could let us know the board, what is the next renewal period for this IMA?
I reached out to him this morning, because you had an IMA with them, for your, facility management. I don't know exactly what's involved in that. That person is retiring. We'll need to look at, and he's gonna be working half-time for, Sterling.
no time for us.
So we've got to look at what those tasks are and figure out how we deal with those. And you've got the tri-town with the building inspectors, yourselves.
So
I'm sorry, I can't remember.
It's us. There was like two other, we
There's-
heard that there would be a fourth one, but we never heard anything else. So
I don't know whether, he just wasn't in the office today or with the ice or whatever, but I have reached out to him.
So the one other thing I was thinking is, maybe if you could put it on the agenda, whether the renewal ahead of time rather than after the renewal period.
for the building inspector, you mean?
Yes, so the board can vote on it, whether we want to renew the IMA or we want to,
Meaning the last time we had the IMA put in front of us, along with some other things, it was already after it was set to expire or had already expired.
Well, this I have to be part of the FY '27 budget package. I mean, I'm assuming they're on a fiscal year basis. I'll have to present a plan on the
So I believe you're
alternative.
correct. I believe our understanding was that it has an evergreen renewal policy that would take into effect July 1 if we don't essentially change course prior to then. So, and I think our intent was to look to change course based on, those are old files I brought in, yeah, no. Based on, we were not getting the expertise, knowledge that we had previously received at some of our, say, zoning board meetings. That group was not willing to attend those meetings to
Thank you.
offer their guidance to those committees. So those committees are, whereas in the past, we've had inspectors that were willing to come give their professional opinions. So essentially what's being provided by that arrangement is not meeting needs across the board. So the thought process was we wanted to look into reallocating those funds that are going into that arrangement now and pursuing something that's more specific to what we need as a town, whether it be.
And
yeah.
that is I've heard that.
Okay,
I want to look at what is happening with your two-town
Yeah.
IMA on the buildings. Look at this, see if there's any sort of reasonable reconfigurations that we could bring you as part of the budget.
excellent.
I will warn you that finding building inspectors today is extremely difficult, and finding one who's willing to attend your ZBA meetings is challenging.
So, if I have to tell you, we had never ever had any problems.
You are in the toughest market for employee recruitment that I personally have ever seen. And especially, you know what'll bring back DPW directors and planners and building inspectors? A recession. Because when the economy's strong, they flee to the private sector. And this state is making the education requirements for building inspectors more and more difficult all the time. We absolutely will look at that configuration as part of our budget process.
And I'll say one other piece of that is I believe we reached out to them trying to understand if an additional stipend to offset their time coming to those after-hour meetings would be agreeable. My understanding is that they were not open to that.
It is not agreeable.
So,
You'd have to
Yeah.
amend the actual IMA that you're in.
okay.
One item that's not on the agenda, but I do see it in our signatures folder, but I don't remember voting on it, are the two, Toppin's Auto Service on 160 West Boylston Street. There were two for,
So it may be the leftover from the last one.
but
So
was
we
it
didn't-
actually part
We didn't sign
of?
it, we didn't sign, we might have not signed it.
I don't think it was on the, it was actually on the
No, I have
list.
no idea.
So the only reason I asked for the licensing board, there's two difference of class two. For a limited of 8 used cars maximum, one being at the entranceway, for car sales and auto repair at the facility. Before signing, I just want to confirm that this was actually, I don't think it was on the packet. And I also, what we normally ask is, are they up to date on paying their taxes? And-
So that would have normally been your last meeting
Last
in
meeting,
Thursday, in
We had
November
like
here.
We had like hundreds of businesses. We
I'll-
voted at one slot.
We voted one slot. and
We'll
I-
check that tomorrow morning and let you know.
Yeah, just to, and make sure, if we could just make sure that all the taxes and everything is all paid up to date in
Yep.
both businesses, that would be great.
Absolutely.
All right,
And one more thing.
yeah,
So
he
we-
only has
How many-
limited time. How many things are
We
you
are-
gonna add?
We are 1.5 hours. Other towns are doing it like 3 to 4 hours
Well,
town
we're
meeting.
better than other
Select
towns,
board
but
meetings.
How many, one more things?
I know, but you do that
So-
with planning and zoning.
Yeah,
You do
we have-
5-hour meetings.
He processed me through it, so he's doing his part.
Yeah.
Okay,
So one other thing is, when the earlier building inspector used to be here, she normally visits the flag RV.
I'm sorry, what?
Flag RV. RV, just opposite to the Walmart, there is a RV
Flag
sales
RV
place.
dealership.
Oh, okay.
So there is a limit. We have a limit on how many RVs, the motorized RVs can be stored. So by looking at it, I did get, someone told me, it looks like way more than what they are permitted to store there. The number one problem is, if there is something happened, it's going to be a disaster over there. Safety hazard. So maybe this is for the building inspector to
Sure.
take a look at it.
We can do that.
That's about it, so.
I feel like, could I add 6 more things to your plate before
Yeah,
we end? I can
just
make
one more
things up.
thing.
Just one more. No, just giving you a
Motion
hard
to
time.
adjourn.
I was wrong, both of Toppin's auto services and car salesman at that place was on the last agenda, so I forgive that. It is in the packet. I have nothing else. Is there any future agenda items or reports from the board? Hearing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Nobody
All in
seconds it.
favor? Aye, we adjourn.